Got traffic there. Last there, just take it up to the departure end of the runway, then a left turn and a left downwind. Cessna over the threshold, coming up on the white dot, at or beyond the white dot, left turn first available. I got a high wind coming up on about a half-mile final, clear to land at or beyond. Traffic on the left face, you're following a Cessna down, low off your left. Square it up just a little bit, and then we're going to get you in. Start your descent, though. Start your descent on the base. Traffic on final, give me follow on base. Base traffic, start turning toward the numbers now. High wing coming up on quarter-mile final, take it all the way down to the green. Cessna taxiing on the green, expedite down to the next hard surface. Get me some speed. There you go. Go, 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 go fast. This is going to be good. I got traffic on a mile final. You're following traffic ahead and to your right. High wing coming up on the threshold. Take it all the way down to the green dot.
5 Charlie Sierra, 2 mile final.
A mile final, turn north, and we're going to just make you, we're going to bring you back around. Jet traffic's coming up on about a mile and a half final, runway 9er clear to land.
Okay, all right, let's listen up, guys. If you're on final for runway 9, I want you to offset to the left. I got a jet that's landing on runway 9. The jet's cleared to land runway 9 if you can make it. If not, just continue straight ahead. It looks like you're going around for the jet. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine.
Oh, we had one right in front of us, sir.
Dragger. Let's see. Well, we got a tricycle. Tricycle, put it down. Tricycle, put it down. Tricycle, put it down. Tail dragger, down to the green dot, then a left turn. Short final here. You clear land on 9 all the way to the white dot. Go down to the white dot. Find somebody to follow out here. Canard, just come to the runway, and I might have to just send you around. That'll be fine. And for the jet, you just want to stay in this pattern, or you want to go back out for an instrument approach?
Stay in a pattern, Charlie Sierra.
All right, just stay with me here for a minute. And my tail dragger, let's see, over the numbers, go down to the green. And Canard's going to have to go around. Canard, go around. Canard, go around. Canard, go around. And my high wing here over the runway, keep it airborne. Keep it airborne. You do not descend. Do not descend. You got a fast guy behind you. Do not descend. There you go. Keep it airborne. Keep it airborne. As soon as the guy behind you gets slowed down, I'm going to put you down. So keep it airborne. The one that just passed the white dot, make a left turn on the hard surface. All right, my high wing tail dragger, you can put it down now. You can put it down now. And Charlie Sierra, let me get you about a mile off. Let's see, Charlie Sierra, I lost. There you are. Make a left-hand turn. I'll try to resequence you here on the downwinds. We'll see how it looks. Short final, you're clear to land runway 9 on the white dot. Clear to land on the white dot. There you go. And the tricycle left on the hard surface and follow the flagman. Welcome. Thanks for being part of the show. And let's see, just find somebody to follow out follow on the final, and as you get close to the runway, if it's not going to work, we're going to send you around and then try to resequence you. Now, who else got sent around that's not back on the downwind? The Canard?
Yeah, Canard.
All right, Canard, there's a Gulfstream up there that went around too. I just lost sight of him, but you're going to make kind of a left-hand turn and stay low. I think Charlie Sierra, what's your altitude?
3,200.
Okay, that'll be fine. Just maintain VFR. I don't know what else is up there above you. Probably most everybody's down here, so just make a left-hand turn. We'll try to get you back here.
Canard's got the jet in sight.
Okay, the RV, maybe an RV-10, whatever, here on final. Keep your speed up and go all the way down to the, aim for the green dot for me. Actually, keep your speed up. There's a guy behind you. Aim for the green dot, and I'm sure that's plenty of room for you to land on runway 9. You're clear to land on runway 9. Number 2, you're going to go down to the white dot. Follow the white dot. Actually, you know what? That's 1,500 feet. You're going to land at the white dot. The spacing looks adequate here. 2 guys on final. You're kind of tight there. Keep each other in sight, and you're going to aim for the white dot. If it's not going to work, we'll come up with a plan B. We might have to send you around. The second guy behind you out there in about a 2-mile final. Are you slow enough to be able to follow that guy in front of you? You need to go around. Well, I probably shouldn't ask that because I had about 5 guys answer me, so I should know better than that after 35 years, you would think, right? All right, so let me see. The guy who's number 1, it's number 1. What kind of airplane is he? An RV type. All right, RV type. Keep it airborne for me. Keep it airborne. And I got a fast guy behind you. The number 2 guy over the trees there. Go ahead and put it down on the numbers. Put it down on the numbers. My first guy just coming up on the numbers at the over the grass at the numbers. I want you to keep it.
T-minus 1 minute and counting.
Hello.
Four, 3, 2, 1. Hello.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Flyer live stream on this lovely, bloody gorgeous outside here. Anyway, Thursday, I should be flying.
Yeah.
My ears are all blocked, and I go, and so I'm not going flying. Anyway, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm very happy to say that Charlotte Dadswell is in the green room and waiting, which is a relief. Sometimes the guest arrives a little bit late. It's a little bit stressful. So looking forward to that later. First, I'd like to say a huge thank you to Sky Demon for supporting the Flyer live stream. And this week, no Sky Demon tip, but the answer to a Sky Demon question that you asked. So here you go.
Hi, I'm Hannah.
I'm Rob.
And I'm Tim, and we are most of Team Sky Demon. Welcome to another session of questions and answers.
Who decides which notams get displayed as graphical notam?
The short answer is that we decide, and we do that based on our many years of interpreting these things and getting them as perfect as we can on the map. But it's important to understand also that notams were never meant to be graphically depicted. They're not really designed for it, and although in the majority of cases we can do a really good job, there are some notams that just won't lend themselves to it, and there are some notams where the publisher might not have done it quite right. And for those, you'll always have to look in the NOTAM briefing. So we always recommend you do read the NOTAM briefing and don't just rely on what you see on the map.
Some NOTAM are just simply too big. They cover an entire FIR, so it would look like a big purple mess if we were to depict it graphically.
Yeah, and there's also obviously some NOTAMs which ground-based, something's going on at airports, we wouldn't tend to draw those graphically either.
There's loads of information on our website. Just go to skydemon.aero and go to help and support.
So,
They was hoping that Rob would do the absurd NOTAM thing.
No, although I think absurd notams do provide a bit of an issue for some of the graphical, and I'm certainly guilty. If I'm doing a quick flight, I'll plan it and see if there's anything obvious in the way. I'll check out the sort of departure and destination. There's never any notams for the strip that I fly from, clearly. But on a long flight, it's definitely. Well, on any flight, it's probably worth taking a bit of a better look than I perhaps sometimes do. Sure, the CA will bring that up in evidence.
On that note, it's probably time for the weekend weather forecast. I can see Simon's not here, so it must be a recording.
It is. Here you go.
Hi everyone, sorry I can't be with you this evening, but I do have some good weather news for you because it looks like being a fairly decent weekend for most of us. Having said that, it is going to be blowing an absolute hoolie tomorrow morning across parts of East Anglia and South East England, and really those winds not improving until the evening. We could find northerlies blowing at around 20 to 25 knots, gusts of 30 to 35 knots. Also, quite a bit of cloud there. You see here those orange colours on the cloud ceiling forecast showing us bases of around 500 to 1,000 feet, tops on that at around 12 to 15,000 feet, and outbreaks of rain to boot as well associated with that front. Notice though that the cloud bases become higher the further west you go, and so most of Wales, southwest England, northern England, southern and eastern Scotland, most of Ireland should be fair. 4,000 foot bases here, tops at about 10,000 feet. Just the far northwest of Scotland may well suffer with some low cloud just as the front moves in. On Saturday, still got a ridge of high pressure. That's that N shape in the ice bars that comes out of that area of high pressure. So it's looking like being another fair day. Generally good flying conditions across most parts of the British Isles. There'll be some cloud around, particularly through more inland areas, and bases probably around 2,000 to 4,000 feet overall. Tops at about 8,000 feet. Could just be a shower across parts of the Welsh mountains, but otherwise it's fair. Again, northwestern Scotland may just see a little bit more cloud. Now, still quite breezy across East Anglia and the northerly wind, but here winds 15 to 20 knots, so down a little bit on what they will be tomorrow. Well, down quite a bit actually. And then for Sunday, things do change across northern and western areas. Increased cloud, northern and western parts of Scotland, across northwest England, across central parts of Ireland. Probably non-VFRable for northwestern Scotland. Here is where we see the lowest of cloud. Elsewhere, what I call marginal VFR. So bases here probably getting in at around 1,500 to 2,500 feet, tops at about 10,000 feet. Some spots of drizzle are possible across northern and western coasts along with some fog, but other areas look as if they are going to be fair. Bases of 3,000 to 4,000 feet tops, easily at 7,000 to 8,000 feet. So decent conditions elsewhere. So you see what I mean? It actually looks like it is going to be a fair weekend. Now, I'm updating all the time across at weatherweb.net at the aviation weather section there. So go and take a look at that. And also, just to let you know that I'm trying to arrange an Aviation Weather School Part 1 online course. It'll probably be July, but I'll let you know more once those dates are announced. If you want me to let you know more as soon as the dates are announced, then just pop me across an email. You can use the contact form at weatherweb.net or go to weatherschool.co.uk and use the contact form there. Okay, I will leave you with that for now. Have a fantastic flying weekend, won't you? I think I've got a recorded forecast for you again next week, but then I'll be live with you the week after. Have a great time, have a great weekend and a safe flying weekend. Thanks again for watching. See you guys. Bye.
So anyone who's going to the Mull flying on the weekend, looks like they'll have a good headwind going up and then a stonking tailwind coming home.
Yeah, but it looks pretty good though, doesn't it? Apart from in that southeast corner, but you know they normally get good weather down there, so it's not bad for them to get a bit of spot of western weather for a change, is it?
Absolutely.
Right.
So, question of the week, which we dreamt up during Livestream Extra yesterday, and it comes with potentially a prize, but it's a bit of a long game thing, this. And the question is we want you to guess when you think my Supercar project might be finished and flying. And I think this comes with lunch at Wadswick as a prize.
It does. It does. Whoever gets closest gets bought lunch at Wadswick.
Yeah, so make your guesses, and then we'll revisit it. We'll revisit the comments.
Yeah, Dave's already put in a bid, hasn't he? He's put in a bid for August the 30th.
Well, but I didn't say which year, did I?
I mean, I think we've already discussed with Ed that you might not have been party to that discussion, I guess, because it was in the hangar and you weren't around. So if you got like a whole bunch of people working on it really hard and weren't overly concerned with perfection,
I
mean, you know, it would be really good, but it wouldn't be perfect. Then I think my guess is you could get it flying within 2 weeks.
I think so. Yes. Oh, and putting aside the paperwork action. So
yeah. They're flooding in now. We've got 2028.
Oh, thanks for the vote of confidence, Mike.
John Milner, 2025.
You know, someone at the LAA is going to come up with a date and then ensure that the paperwork doesn't arrive until they win.
Until that point, Darren's going vague. Any September, he's going LAA rally.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Darren. Talking of Darren and Aerotiques, Darren is due to come and visit us at some stage, isn't he?
He is.
He's due to bring a studio prop and his wisdom and humour, which we're looking forward to seeing. So, come on, Darren, pull your finger out.
Says 4th of July. That will be some kind of miracle. Meanwhile, John Milner's demonstrated that he hasn't learned anything from my videos by going, Ed is not concerned with perfection.
Yeah, basically.
Anyway, we will come back to those. Someone could win.
So, someone will win, won't they?
Yes, someone will definitely.
Whether they'll consider a trip to Wadswick for a free lunch with us worthy of making the effort or not, I don't know. But.
Yeah, hey, well, maybe it'll even be it'll be flying, so you can come for a ride.
Yeah,
that might put people off.
Yeah,
absolutely. Cool.
So,
right, Flyer Club. Yeah, so if you're not a member, obviously we'd love you to join. Flyer.co.uk/membership. If you look at the bottom, we do have a cheeky little code for summer to save you some money on the monthly membership, which is normally £5 a month or £52 for the full year. It's the 31st of May tomorrow. So we've got Eschot, Holmbeck Farm, Tainton Hill, and Middlesoy still up as the free landing vouchers. And then for June, for the weekend, we've got Bodmin, Peterborough, Sibson, Brayton, and Causeway in Northern Ireland. So plenty of good ones spread around the country for that. We've just had the AIB webinar, which is normally a Fly Club benefit, but we open that one up to everybody to watch. So if you haven't seen that, you can go back and watch it. And then we've got more coming up. I think next month's is about photography, so that should be an interesting one.
Yeah.
And obviously you get all access to all the Fly content as well. So join fly.co.uk/membership.
Absolutely. Good. Right. Is it time for news? It must be time for news.
It definitely is.
Dave, take it away.
Yes, well, the famous Reno air races have a new home in a place called Roswell, Mexico, which is literally in the middle of nowhere. And that's probably what you want when you're racing powerful, noisy, gas-guzzling aeroplanes close to the ground. In other words, a petrol head's heaven. Possibly also useful to the racers and spectators, who knows, is that just outside the city of Roswell is Area 51, which, as we all know, is the Earth base for aliens and UFO Central. Anyway, Roswell will host the first National Air Race Championship air races in September 2025. And I, for one, am very happy they found a place to race, even if it is a set straight out of a Lee Child Reacher novel. Now, that's going to pass you over the head, isn't it, Ian?
Yeah, I'm not entirely
You've
sure.
never read a Reacher novel, have you?
There's quite a few people who've noticed that for the huge influx of people that you normally get for somewhere like Reno, that Roswell's missing quite a few things, like that many hotels, roads, car hire, all sorts of other bits and pieces. So that'll be kind of interesting to see. There'll be as someone suggested, I don't know if it was you, Ed, or someone else, all of a sudden there'll be an awful lot of Airbnbs here in Roswell, New Mexico.
Yeah. And I'm hoping there'll be a UFO class. That'll be good.
There should be a saucer class, shouldn't there? And then the bleachers will undoubtedly have all sorts of people in grey. Grey alien things.
That's someone is churning out that Roswell air race merch as we speak.
Someone in China.
Yeah.
Getting ready to ship it to America, undoubtedly. Right. On a well, I guess so. A serious note. June the 5th, /6 is the likely date that the EU are going to rule on the extension that's been requested by a couple of Avgas suppliers on the new rule. There's a new rule coming in May 2025 that kind of forbids transport and processing of tetraethyl lead in the EU. This clearly is not a good thing if you're making Avgas, and most of Avgas in the EU is made in basically Poland and Holland, and that includes the Avgas we use in the UK. So if that rule was to go ahead, there'd be a severe challenge for Avgas. It could probably still be made in the US or somewhere else and shipped over, but as you can imagine, that's not going to exactly decrease the price of it. So there's a few people who've asked for an extension, and the extension they've asked for is until 2029, which kind of brings it almost in line with the US ban on tetraethyl lead, which is coming in 2030. But on June 5th or 6th, we should know the answer unless somebody kicks that particular can down the road again. So we'll find out what's going to happen then. We've tried to speak to many fuel suppliers and aircraft manufacturers and engine manufacturers, and they're all kind of publicly saying, well, the fuel suppliers are saying nothing whatsoever. They're keeping stum about it. And the aircraft manufacturers are saying, oh, we're sure that a solution will be found, a combination of extension, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll see. But it's hard to take it as not an awful lot of people with heads buried in the sand. And I hope they are right to do so. And that come next week, we don't see the train coming down the tunnel too fast. So that said, I would much rather run on unleaded if I could, which I can't personally, but so there you go. Keep your eye out for that, Johnny.
Yeah. So, have you landed on a beach? That's the question well, not the second question of the day, but the news question, because the Lancashire beach landings are going to take place this summer. There's 6 dates. So if you're interested, we've got June the 15th, July 20th, August 17th, August 31st, September 14th, and September 28th. From what I gather, you can sign up with your email address and you'll get a notification on the Thursday beforehand as to whether it's going to happen or not. So yeah, if you're interested, then head over to Lancashire Landings. Just Google Lancashire Landings and the website comes up. The actual web address is a bit longer and more convoluted than that. But yeah, any of us landed on a beach? I haven't.
I haven't, no. In the
Annabelle.
discussion
Annabelle.
landed in a beach.
Yeah.
Discussion yesterday in Livestream Extra suggested it's the sort of thing you want to do in a rented aeroplane, not your own.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I think I'm right in saying that there won't be a beach landing on all of those days, but probably on one of those days throughout the summer.
Yeah.
On all sorts of things. But yeah, I took off from a field in Florida once, a grass strip in Florida, and that was a very, very sandy field. It wasn't a beach, but I'll tell you what, it did not decelerate the aeroplane. So you go through a soft patch, like, oh my God, all that airspeed just evaporates, and you think, oh, here comes the fence. But it was all right in the end. We survived. We survived. Dave.
Right, yes, Halfpenny Green Cafe. Before we go any further, let's clear something up. Halfpenny Green Airport is Halfpenny Green, not Wolverhampton City International, whatever they call it these days. The airport gained the name RAF Halfpenny Green in 1943. Did you know this? When it was changed from RAF Bobbington, which is a local village, to avoid confusion with RAF Bovingdon in Hertfordshire. So Halfpenny Green it is. The new news is that it has a refurbished cafe, which is called Amelia's Bar and Restaurant. It's clear to say it's not a greasy spoon of the type you often find at British Airfields. It's a really nice, well-presented restaurant you'll be happy to take your wife to, substitute girlfriend, man friend, mother, father, etc. There have been some moans from people who prefer the greasy spoon, mostly about the prices. But hey, news. This is not a cheapskate hobby we're involved in, and the price is not that bad, and they're comparable with, say, a gastro pub. We all know that the real test of an airfield cafe is the ladies' loo. That's a far bigger challenge to get right.
I'm hovering on the dump key here at the moment to just cut Dave off.
I can.
And the one thing I saw today, one of our regular live stream viewers, Russ, who's the wheelie plane bloke, went and visited, I think it was yesterday or the day before, and he said, nice to see that it's also fully wheelchair accessible, which previously at Halfpenny Green it wasn't. So that's great.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to giving it a go. I have to say, and I realise it's a bit more expensive than some of the cheaper places, but sometimes you just want some nice food.
Yeah.
That's my take on that. Ed.
Yes, some good news at Vans Aircraft, and this is that the bankruptcy court for District of Oregon has accepted Vans Aircraft's restructuring plan, and that permits a return to more normal operations from June the 1st. More importantly, it means for customers that they've demonstrated through the plan that they can operate profitably and efficiently while meeting their creditor obligations. And for customers, they can more efficiently produce and ship kits. There was a video online on the Vans YouTube channel, and company president Dick Van Grunsven thanked customers for sticking with them during the period of Chapter 11 uncertainty. Company Vice President Greg Hughes added that 42% of reordered kits had been shipped between December and mid-May, while replacement laser cut parts have been shipped to more than 50% of affected customers. So that's really good.
Yeah, it was I think it would have had Vans not managed to sort that out through Chapter 11 and had Vans effectively disappeared, that would have had a significant effect on the home building market worldwide and many of its suppliers as well.
And many OEMs, yeah. So no, it's Yeah, fantastic.
Absolutely. So talking of sporting aviation, if you're wondering just what to do on June 5th, 6th and stuff next week, then you can head over to Air Expo in France Air Expo. It's called. It's at Lyon-Bron, 6th, 7th, 8th of June. If you use the code Foxtrot Lima Yankee Mike X-Ray Foxtrot 73, which Ed's going to put up in the comments, which is at the top of the sheet, along with the website, and you register, you have to register first. You can't just pitch up with that on your phone. Then you'll get a free entrance into that. There are plenty of hotels around. I have to say, I haven't been to a France Air Expo for about a bazillion years, so I have no idea whether it's a good or bad thing. But a weekend in Lyon, which is a bit of a gastro centre for France, along with a bunch of aviation alongside it, can't be a bad idea. So if you're looking for something to do next weekend, pop over to Lyon, use that code, use that website, register in advance, get yourself a free entry, and have fun. It's got to be worse things to do at the weekend than flying to France, I'd have thought.
And don't forget all the ESCAR procedures.
And yes, don't forget the lovely ESCAR procedures, which have been brought into. Yes, they're lovely. Yes.
One final bit of news. This is that it's eVTOL, but not really eVTOL. It's eSTOL news, and this is that Electra Aero has successfully flown their first high-performance, ultra-short operation of its blown-lift hybrid. So this is a regular airplane, well, kind of a regular airplane, but with multiple motors and along the leading edge, and it means that they can take off in less than 170 feet. Land in under 114 feet, and flies as slowly as 25 knots on takeoff and landing. So that is a very neat gadget.
I think the other thing that's interesting about that one that makes it slightly more realistic than some of the others is it's a hybrid propulsion system. If you watch the video, we didn't play you the video. We're running away to make sure we don't get any more copyright issues because it's got music and stuff all over it. But you can see this sort of big gas outlet for the turbine. It's got a turbine in the nose which generates a chunk of the electrical power. Because looking at, I think there's eight engines in total, excluding the turbine. So that's going to be a chunk of volts, isn't it? Heading down.
Yeah. But no, that's cool. And out of all the eVTOL and weirdness, electric weirdness going on, that actually looks like a half decent solution to, on
the face of it, it looks like a solution where someone's gone, you know what, the battery power's not gonna hack it at the moment, so we need to do something else. Let's stick a turbine in the nose and generate some stuff, or an extender or whatever they call them, which is a little bit more pragmatic, I think. Good. Good.
So
is that the end of the news? I think that's the end of the news.
That's the end of the news.
Well, I think we should have a stinger and then bring Charlotte on while the stinger's playing.
Go on then.
Here's our guest, Charlotte Dadswell.
There we go. It worked so well.
It did indeed.
Right. Thank you. So, Charlotte, thanks for joining us. So, for people who don't know, our guest this evening is tailwheel pilot, chief flying instructor, and LAA director Charlotte Dadswell. Charlotte, I think you achieved your PPL nearly 20 years ago now from looking at your bio. Can you talk us through your learning to fly journey? How did you end up as CFI?
I started learning to fly in 2005, so as you say, nearly 20 years ago now. Just for fun, always wanted to learn to fly. My dad flew when I was a child. So started learning to fly just for fun. No real plans for a career in aviation until my instructor said, you're doing okay at this, you should think about taking it further. So that's when I thought that instructing might be the way to go for me. So I've never really had any desire to go to the airlines. I enjoy flying the light aircraft and enjoy teaching people. It's tremendously rewarding.
What sort of, have you been at Goodwood the whole time, or were you at other schools before then?
I learnt to fly at Goodwood, did most of my hour building based out of Goodwood, so most of my flying has been there. Did my instructor rating at Goodwood, then I went off and taught at a couple of other places. So I started at Hampshire Airplane Club, who were based at Goodwood at the time. I then moved on to Cub Air up at Red Hill. Also spent a bit of time with Real Flying Company at Shoreham, flying the Chipmunk. So I've experienced a few different training organisations before I came back to Goodwood.
Brilliant. Now, moving on to another part of your job, or another part of your sort of bow, what does an LAA director do? What are you responsible for? How did you get involved with that? Was that something you wanted to do, or did someone tap you on the shoulder?
Yeah, we have board meetings and we discuss sort of oversight, sort of direction of things, and then the team at HQ sort of make it all happen. Yeah, I've benefited greatly from the LAA. I did all my air building on a permit aircraft, so that really enabled me to get my commercial license at a reasonable cost. And obviously operating a permit aircraft now, so I've had a huge amount of benefit from the LAA. So it's a nice opportunity to give something back.
Yeah. What aircraft are you sort of operating? I know you've got one, and you've got one hidden in a barn as well, haven't you?
Yeah, so our aircraft is an Aeronca Chief Oscar, which is great fun. There we go. So we bought Oscar, I think it was 2017, looking like that, and flew for 1 year, and then we always knew that we were going to get a little bit of work done, and then we decided that once we started, we'd keep going and do everything and get it completely restored. So we gave it to Mark and James Masters at Classic and Vintage Aircraft Services. Nice. And as you can see, they've done an absolutely spectacular job, made it very beautiful. So yeah, very proud of the finished article. It's a
fantastic job. I saw it not long after it was done at a vintage Piper flying at Goodwood, and it was it put most other stuff to shame.
yeah, we gate crashed the Piper party on that occasion.
Do you get the invite to come to Goodwood Revival with it and sort of use your influence to win?
We were invited. It was in the Freddie March Spirit of Aviation concourse at the Revival in 2021. And we actually won the inaugural Rob Wildeboer Cup, which really meant a lot to us, named after a Mushmich colleague. So that was really good, and a great recognition for the work that Mark and James had done on the airplane.
Where did you buy that one from?
It's up in Oxfordshire, so it hadn't been flown for a little while. Previous owner was unable to continue flying it, so had hung on to it a little bit, as I think a lot of people tend to do, until he thought it was time for it to go. So we bought it home. And,
talking of the Rob Wildeboer scholarships, have you had the first tranche of students through that have done anything with the scholarship?
Yeah, we've had a few students go through. It's been a really great thing to be able to help people on their flying journey, and in memory of Rob. We just selected our scholars for this year. So they've been awarded selection of different scholarships. So usually a few hours towards training or tailwheel conversion. There's a variety of different things we can offer, depending on what applicants we get. But it's a really great thing to help people along with that.
And is it hard to pick people from that? Because I would imagine you must get quite a lot of applicants for that.
Yeah, it's really hard. I wasn't involved in the selection this year because I've been away for a little while, but Mel, our operations manager, and Zach, Rob's son, who also works with us on the operations team at Goodwood, they did all the interviews this year and selected people, but it is always really difficult to choose, as everyone is very deserving and we want to be able to help all of them.
So is there a calendar every year that helps raise money for that, or is that just that kind of like the launch?
Yeah, so we've been doing the calendar for a few years now. So we get people to submit photographs, and then we select some pictures for the calendar. So that's really nice. All Aviation at Goodwood pictures, and there's other fundraising things going on. So hopefully there'll be some more announcements later in the year for other activities that are going to be raising some money for the scholarship, so we can keep it going.
Well, let us know if we can spread the word to get more money raised. That'll be something we'd be very, very happy to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you get to fly CFI at Goodwood. That clearly means you can go and blag whichever lesson, whichever aeroplane you fancy, I guess. And so I think that I'm right in saying the fleet the general sort of PPL fleet is a 172, a G1000-172 fleet. And then there's a couple of interesting aircraft.
Yeah, so we've got 4 of the 172s, so that is our main training fleet. We've also got the Piper Cub, which we do training on as well. So we've got a few people doing their PPLs and things on that, as well as tailwheel conversions. And then we've at the moment got the Harvard as well. So a couple of more interesting vintage things. So it's a good selection.
I mean, for most flying schools, I realise Goodwood is not most places, but most flying schools will have a fleet of, a couple of 152s, an old PA-38 or something. Not most, many. But to go to A, to have a tailwheel aircraft is a bit of a step for many, and then B, to have something like a Harvard is an even bigger step. Was that a kind of difficult integration into the club kind of training fleet? It can't be can't be as easy to run as a 172.
No, the club is great. It's nice to be able to offer that contrast to the Cessna. So we've got the fairly modern Garmin-equipped aircraft, or for people who like the vintage thing, we've got the Cub. So people usually very much one or the other appeals. So it's good to be able to offer that option. Harvard's a little bit different. It's primarily experiences that we offer on that. It's a bit of a step up from the rest of the fleet. But it's good to have something a bit different as well. We got the year I was learning to fly, so I remember it arriving when I was a new student. Never thought I'd be flying it.
Yeah. Well, how many of your like? I think it'd be quite hard to do your entire PPL on a 172 without looking over at the Harvard and going, well, when I pass, I'm gonna treat myself to a little Harvard flight. So it must be something that most people have had a bit of a dalliance with.
Yeah, there are quite a few students who have that as their treat when they finished. They go and do a Harvard flight. So it's nice to have that to offer.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't learn at Goodwood, so my gift to myself was a single channel bloody GPS, so I didn't have to navigate with that.
Have you still got the a few years ago, Ian and I came down to fly the Stearman that was on the Goodwood fleet at the time. Have you still got that?
We haven't. No, we operated that for 1 year, so that was quite good fun. It was lovely in the summer when it was really hot. Yeah. I checked out in November when it was cold, and I wasn't sure I quite enjoyed that very much. But then I flew it in August, and now I understand this aeroplane. But yeah, we operated that for 1 season. It is still based at Goodwood. It's now privately owned, and so we still see it, but not operated by the school anymore.
So yeah. when aeroplanes like that arrive on the fleet and then disappear, do you ever go, I really wish we could replace it with, and then come up with an idea? Does anyone get to suggest ideas for what might be a good addition?
I expect if we went around our instructors' room, we'd probably all have our own ideas about what we'd like to have in our fantasy fleet. Yeah, there's a whole lot of things that would be nice to have, but yeah, it's looking at what's going to be useful for training and of interest to our members. So.
Is it a Super Cub or a J3 Cub that you got?
It's a Super Cub, yeah. It's an L21B, so military. So lots of nice windows and really fantastic visibility. So it's great for experienced flights as well as training.
Horrible handling.
Yeah. Do you do a bit of banner towing with that as well?
We used to, yeah. That was when we first got the Cub. That was another thing that we could offer to get the airplane busy working. But it's now very busy with students, so we don't do the banner towing anymore.
I was just looking for that.
Yeah, it was good fun to do. So that's me picking up a banner. So it's always quite interesting when we were doing the banner towing, being able to explain to people what was going on and how it all worked, because a lot of people haven't thought about how we actually get up there with the banner. So we have to take off, then we throw the hook out of the window, check it's trailing behind the aircraft, and then, as you can see in the picture, come down nice and low with the hook trailing behind and pick up the banner from the ground. Then the aircraft goes along, and you're watching the temperatures a bit because the poor thing is working quite hard with all that drag on the back. But yeah, it's quite a good fun thing to do. That's something a little bit different.
I kind of always expect the banner aircraft to run out of momentum as it gets to the top of its climb. Okay, that's it. I'm giving up. I'm done.
Yeah. So the minute you've gone through and picked it up, it's a climb rapidly until it starts lifting the banner off, and you feel the snatch. when it starts to lift off the ground, you know you've got it, and then it's case of dragging it around, making sure you see it.
Given your fondness for the chipmunk, and I think this might have the picture came titled as "My First Chipmunk Flight" or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my very first ride in chipmunk. I'd wanted to fly one since before I could fly anything. So that was my first ride in the chipmunk. I just happened to be flying it after somebody else who was based at Goodwood. So we got airborne after he was flying home to Goodwood. That was from Shoreham. Caught up with him and he managed to snap that picture. So that was
okay. So that wasn't your first flight wasn't in a chipmunk. That was your first flight in a chipmunk. I was thinking that was like some pretty good formation stuff there for your first flight.
Yeah, I wasn't flying it at that point.
Got that stuff nailed. So you and I think this was when you were working for the RFC.
Yeah.
So, I mean, surely there's got to be a chipmunk in the future of the Goodwood fleet at some point, hasn't there?
That, as we said, going around the room, looking at our favourite aircraft, that probably would be one of my ones that I'd love to have. But
yeah, well, I'm sure you can make that happen, can't you? Gently.
We shall see.
So, Charlotte, earlier this year, we ran an article about the predominantly female team at Goodwood. Does that all work well? I mean, has it changed things at Goodwood being mostly female in the operating team?
Not really. It's just sort of arisen naturally as people have come along, and we've got a really strong team. Just happens to be lots of women, and it all works really well. So probably bucking the trend a little bit, but it's a great team, and we all work really well together. So
was that a did you go out and deliberately try to find women to come into the team, or did it just happen naturally?
No, it just happened naturally. So that's just how it's arisen. So.
Right. Has that changed? I mean, obviously, in huge subject, but I think it's something like 6% of pilots, commercial pilots at least, are female worldwide, which is obviously a tiny number. And there's lots of people who've discussed for a long, long time about why that might be and how that might be changed, and airlines looking at how they can change it, etc., etc. I know you didn't go out and set out to hire a predominantly female team. That just happened. But has that in any way inadvertently changed the makeup of your PPL student population, or has it had no change to that whatsoever? Or
I wouldn't say it's necessarily changed it. We do get some female students who would rather fly with a female instructor, so it's nice to be able to offer that. But I don't think it's made a big difference to anything in that respect.
There's a question in the comments. Stuart Rue says, someone on the verge of retirement and contemplating doing a CFI course, how much?
Give us a shout, Stu. We can send you all the details over. So we've got we offer the flight instructor course as well. Pretty busy doing that, which is great. So we can build our own instructors as well. So that's another interesting thing that we offer. So it's really good. As I said, I did my own training at Goodwood as an instructor. So
do you find it?
Do the details.
I mean, Goodwood is different to many other airfields and flight schools for all sorts of reasons. And it is a bit of a special place as a result. Does that change at all your kind of retention for instructors at times when there are lots of airline jobs, and there are many schools that struggle to retain instructors and have a fairly high turnover? Is that in some way helped at Goodwood? And
it is a special place to work. It's there's so much going on at Goodwood with the events, and people are like the cars. We've got the motor circuit around the outside, so it's a special place to work. Obviously, I've been flying there for nearly 20 years, so I'm still not bored with the scenery as well. It's a lovely place to fly, good place to train from. It's I think it's always a challenge with the airline recruitment going up and down, and finding instructors, but I think we've got a great team, and they will enjoy working there.
And you obviously you've got two big events there every year. You've got the Revival and the Festival of Speed. That must have quite a big impact on airfield ops and all the things you do. And tell us a little bit about how you kind of work those into everything that goes on with kind of a normal flying school.
Yeah, it's obviously evolved over the years. The team are really good at building the sites, because obviously Revival particularly takes place at the motor circuit and the aerodrome. So they're quite good at sequencing the build so that they minimise the amount of time that affects operations. Obviously, we can't fly during the events, and there's little bits either side where runways are closed if grandstands are going up and things like that. So it does affect things a little bit, but they're fantastic events which we really enjoy as well. As you said earlier, with the Freddie March Spirit of Aviation, we've got some aircraft at the Revival too, so it's great to be part of.
Yeah.
Is the clubhouse is now completely fully open and functioning and stuff? Because it was a bit of an open.
Yeah, it's a bit of a long project, but it's a great building now, and it's working well for us.
That was probably a long time ago. It's probably all sorted and bedded in and everything now.
Yeah,
I'm not sure that there's a nicer clubhouse, a nicer flying school clubhouse in the UK apart from Goodwood's. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, we're very fortunate to have a great facility, so it helps. Being part of the wider estate is really great. So,
yeah, I was going to ask: is the flying club sort of financially separate to the estate, or is it all sort of come under one pot?
It's all Goodwood ultimately. Yeah.
Right.
I was trying to think if there was a better flying club in the UK, and I can't building and setting and stuff like that, and I can't think of one that actually even comes that close, really.
I don't think so.
I think White Waltham's quite a nice. White Waltham is in a different kind of place, isn't it? But White Waltham's got quite a nice different feel to it. But
yeah.
Goodwood is a very special. I think Lord March is quite particular in stuff that he allows and doesn't allow.
Yes, there's a lot of attention to detail with everything, and all the design is very carefully managed.
Polite. Attention to detail, but that has the benefit of everything being nice and uniform and the same color white and not stuff everywhere and not looking horrible, which is difficult at other places.
And talking of Lord March, does he ever? I think I'm right in saying I don't think he flies, but does he ever appear at the school, and does he ever go, I need to go flying?
Occasionally, yes. I haven't flown him. We have flown him occasionally. I think the cars is the main passion for the Duke.
Okay.
So, tell us about. I mean, when you bought the Aeronca, you went up to Oxford and you bought back this Aeronca, which presumably was flying at the time, or was that a barn find? That wasn't a barn find, was it?
No, it hadn't flown a lot recently, but it was flying. So we had it looked over and got a fresh permit put on it, and then flew it back.
Okay, so
initially to Goodwood, and then we finished building our hangar at home and moved it back there.
So the process of deciding to refurb that, was that from the very beginning was okay? This is gonna be a ground up refurb, and it's all gonna be beautiful, or was it a little bit of mission creep, and you go, well, we could tidy that bit up, and then that changed to that bit, and then added. Was it a big project from the beginning?
We knew when we bought it that there was going to be some work needed, and so then we fairly early on we decided we were going to get everything done. If we're going to start dismantling this, we might as well do the whole lot in one go, make it perfect, and then just get on and enjoy flying it for a few years. So
how long was the whole project?
It's about 3 years.
Wow.
So yeah, all the guys that are good at this work are busy. So to begin with, there were other projects that Mark and James had to finish, and then Oscar gradually moved up the queue, and it all happened fairly quickly at the end when it all came together.
It does look fabulous.
Sorry, Dave. Go ahead.
So I was going to say, it does look fabulous.
Thank you.
It looks great, but for a 3-year project, I mean, you gotta hope that you're still in love with Aeronca at the end of it, really, haven't you?
Yeah. I certainly felt more nervous the first time I flew it back into our strip after the rebuild than I had done before.
Yeah.
So you just touched on the fact. So you've got your home at a farm, and you've obviously set up your own little strip.
Yes.
Is that something that you just created, and you just because I think it's fascinating for people who are not in that position. You just go, I wonder how hard is that to do that.
Yeah, unfortunately, we haven't got very much room, so it's a very short strip. So it's a little bit challenging. It sounds scary. It's 230 meters long. You are landing uphill, taking off downhill. So it's it always looks scary on short final, and then you land and realize you're only halfway up. So it's fine, and we get airborne in probably just over half of it going down the hill. So it's comfortable margins. I only ever fly in and out solo, just to make sure we've got the performance margin. And if there's too much tailwind on the approach to land, then I bravely run away and leave it at Goodwood for a few days until the wind changes.
I mean, that is actually small enough to be out mowing the lawn and then just getting carried away and finding you got a strip one day, isn't it?
Yeah. My dad's in charge of the mowing, so he mows it with the tractor usually, but he has done it on our ride-on mower on the odd occasion when it's been a little bit too wet to put the tractor on it. So it doesn't take very long.
Was it your dad that created it, or did you you've motivated that? Yeah,
it was Dad. He had a Chief years ago when I was quite young. So he'd actually kept an aircraft at home before. So when Andrew and I were looking for an aircraft that we could keep at home, we knew that the Chief would do it. So we were looking for something vintage and interesting that could get in and out of such a short strip. So the options were fairly limited. And we were just lucky that another Chief came up when we were starting to think about it.
Fantastic. Nice. And looking not very Chief-like in collection in some of the photos that we've got of things that you've flown, is this little machine. Tell us a little bit about that.
That belongs to my uncle, John Veening. That's the prototype Andreas in BA4B. So built as an aerobatic competition machine. I've flown it a few times. Very exciting. Tiny little machine. So very good performance on an 0200. So it doesn't weigh very much. And he actually flew it to Australia. So it's had a very interesting life, that aeroplane.
You flew it to Australia?
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you mean he flew it to Australia, or he had it flown in a container?
No, he flew it to Australia. So he fitted a belly tank, which was originally designed by Andreas, and I guess for ferrying the aircraft to competitions. So he got the belly tank built and installed, and flew it bit by bit down to Australia. So quite an interesting trip.
How long do we know how long that took, that journey?
30 years.
I can't remember how long exactly it took him, but I think about 5 hours was the longest leg. So if you can imagine flying an aerobatic machine for 5 hours at a time, I think it was quite an exhausting trip, but a tremendous achievement.
Yeah, and that it doesn't look like there's a lot of space in it.
No. So not a lot of luggage.
Let's just I've got a couple of pictures of Oscar here. So this is if I'm right, this is what it looks like now from the outside.
Yes.
Yeah. That was the original one. And there's an interior shot here somewhere. There you go. Wow.
But that is cracking. Was it a fun process rebuilding an aeroplane?
It was, yeah. I wish I'd had more time to actually get involved more in the doing of it. Andrew did a little bit of work, and it was really nice to get a visit and see how things were progressing. It's a totally non-original scheme. In terms of the interior, it's as original as we could get it. You can see the very left hand of that picture. We got secreted away behind, and we can still cover it up in the glove box. We got a radio transponder in there. But if we're at a show, we can clip the cover of the glove box back on and hide all the modern kit away, so it looks pretty original.
That's very well thought out.
That does look pretty lovely, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
I mean, it's probably an 80, 90 miles an hour airplane.
Yeah, about 90. Depends how much fuel we want to burn. It had an A65 originally, and as part of the rebuild, a C85 came up, which gave us a little bit more oomph for getting into the strip, which was nice. It's not a major tourer, but it's lovely to fly.
Fantastic. Very good. So for anyone excited about going to Goodwood, any tips for visitors?
Yeah, it's a lovely airfield. Do come and see us. We've got a fabulous cafe, as you've been saying, in the clubhouse building. So yeah, check out the website with the details of how to join. Give us a call and pop in and see us.
I've flown in and out of Goodwood quite a few times over the years, and I've not been banned yet, so I think it's probably okay. but it's one of those things, because there's, I don't know, what is there, 6 runways or something?
Yes. Yeah.
So when you first look at it and you go, oh my God, look all those circuits and noise avoids and stuff. At first glance, it can appear to be a little bit complex, but actually it's a pretty straightforward, simple kind of place, and a jolly nice, relaxed, friendly place to visit, with a nice bit of a vintage fuel pump vibe going on, and some.
We've got a great fire team to look after you if you've not been in before. And we've also got our new flight information display in the tower, so they if you've got your EC with you, and they can see everybody, and that helps to give them situational awareness. And
they are
coming in and out.
Yeah, they are a really nice team at Goodwood, and it's most airfields have really nice teams. There are 1 or 2 that don't, but it certainly makes when it's busy and there's a lot going on, it's nice to have some nice people.
Yeah, and it can get very busy, but. Good.
He says, tips for Goodwood: go and see Tim in the tower.
Yes.
There you go. Cool.
Peter Gong says, Goodwood Information is a friendly service. Oh,
it is.
It's lovely. We were driven a Range Rover from the tower to the club. VIP treatment.
I landed there once, and the extremely sadly the late Rod Wildebourne came and picked me up in the. It was jolly nice. It was it was really, really nice when he was there, and I'm glad to say that it's maintained much of that spirit and stuff like that, which is great. He made a huge difference. When you got someone you saw, Rod, you go, it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
You're okay. Well, yeah, no, good, brilliant. What's next then?
More flying. Let's hope we get a half decent summer and we can get lots of flying going on.
Sounds like a plan to me. It's June, isn't it? The day after tomorrow's June, so it better hurry up and get a wiggle on.
Yeah. Well, cool. It's so just remains to say thanks, Charlotte, for being our guest tonight. I think lots of people will be putting Goodwood in their destination for summer this year. So hopefully they'll drop by and say hi. Are you there most days?
Yeah, I'm full time, so I'm there Wednesday to Sunday usually. So yeah, do come and say hello if you're there.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, thank you very much. And
thank you.
It's going to be time for Fantasy Hangout.
Thank you.
Oh, we both hit the button. What a great guest.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. So, Fancy Hangout this week is built all around the fact that this year is the 40th anniversary of the Vintage Piper Aircraft Club. So we thought we would pick Vintage Pipers for our Fancy Hangout. So who's first?
In the list here, it says Johnny.
Johnny.
Right. I've gone for the PA6, which is also known as the Sky Sedan.
Ooh.
And that it was kind of in the era of just after the war, where all the companies thought all these fighter pilots need their own small airplanes to go charging around in. So yeah, 4-seater, just over a ton, fully laden, obviously retractable. Looks quite clean from underneath. It's not the best looking thing from above.
The cabin's a bit square, but it's got a bit of Globe Swift about it there, isn't it?
It does. So about 130 knot cruise or so. But yeah, it didn't really get anywhere because of the fact that lots of different companies were going, oh, we'll all build airplanes for all these new pilots from the Air Force who aren't flying anymore, and they all want their own airplanes. So it was just a case of mass. I think mass happened, and some of them lost, some of them won.
Harsh. Mark Litherland says it'll be nice when they get it out of the box.
Ed, what's the name of that aeroplane that's made up of airliner flooring?
The CFM Shadow.
No. Was it a sailplane?
Oh, the Edgeley.
That's it. Yeah.
Yes, John Edgeley's glider, which was made of fibre lamp, which is also what the CFM Shadow is made of.
Okay, so I reckon that Johnny's thing here is a bit of a mash-up between John Edgeley's glider and a Globe Swift. Both of them on a drunken night out in Lockhaven, and that was the result.
Is that the Optimist, Ed?
It is, yes. I couldn't quite remember that. Is it the EA9?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. It is. Oh, look at that for remembering.
Oh, well done, peeps. I kind of pushed that one to my... Is the Optimist the Optica?
Of the glider world.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Right. You're next, Ian. What you got?
I've gone for one of these.
No, surely not.
Yeah. So it's a Corsair, if you didn't know.
But that's Piper never made those.
Well,
so where's your Piper connection?
Well, so they did make a PA8, and the PA8 Sky Cycle.
Yes.
Little single seat tail dragger. The fuselage was actually made from a Corsair drop tank, of which there were plenty knocking around after the war. And Piper thought that they'd knock them into this little single seater. Unfortunately, they just had 55 horsepower like aiming in the end. They only built 2 of these. Sadly, they decided that a single seater, even if it was built from a Corsair drop tank, just didn't have the market, didn't have the legs, as it were. It's got sort of almost trousery legs going on there, Ed.
Yeah, and Annabelle is saying something in the comments that I was thinking. It's very Jetsons.
I mean, you know, I think that's a great little vintage Piper, and it's. Why is it embarrassing?
It's not embarrassing.
It's not embarrassing at all.
There was definitely there was definitely some single seat thinking going on around about that sort of time, because Luscombe also made a single seater, though it was actually quite a lot nicer looking than your PA8 Sky Cycle.
Well, yeah, but then it's not a Piper, is it?
No, that's true.
And I think if you read, Johnny, you were talking about all the fighter pilots coming back from the war needing their fast machines to go everywhere. Then this was
it was not
meant to be sold. This was meant to be sold to the people who were kind of like coming back from their observation platforms, puttering around.
Yeah, Mike Roberts says evidence that fairings don't make aeroplanes prettier. Harsh.
I think you're all being a little bit harsh.
That is that aeroplane's like 90% fairing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, I think you're right. Yeah. There you go.
Dave, can you better the choices so far?
Well, I've gone to the completely other end of the spectrum, and I'm going to put my Jeremy Clarkson voice on now. Power. What we want? A Piper Comanche 400.
Where's your Jeremy Clarkson voice then, Dave?
Well, it's sort of. I've got a bit of a rasp at the moment because I've got hay fever, and I'm taking all these drugs. So anyway, this is 8 cylinders, 720 cubic inches, fuel injection, 400 horsepower. It's got a 1,600 feet per minute climb, level top speed of 195 knots. I'm sure we can get that to 200 somehow. It's basically aviation's 1960s muscle car with wings. So here's my Jeremy Clarkson bit. Yes.
Is this the Comanche Greta edition?
It's a Greta edition. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we should call it. Comanche Greta.
Yeah,
I mean, I wonder...
she would not be pleased about that, would she? That's a lot of cylinders and horsepower and displacement to not go terribly fast.
It's a flat 8, isn't it?
It is a flat. It's a horizontally opposed flat 8. It's the is it this Lycoming 720?
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, how much?
Sucks the fuel tanks inside out on full power.
I mean, can you imagine what the wait list must be to have a factory new one of those made?
I would guess that you can't even get a new factory a 720. And if you can, Mike Patey's bought them all to go in scrappy.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so there you go. That just leaves you, Ed.
And I don't. To be honest, I think Dave wins because that you can't.
At least you haven't gone for something like typical Piper colour or anything.
I have, yeah. I'm ashamed to say this is and Skycrow, who was falling off his perch with disdain for Piperness and Cubness, is going to hate the fact that I went for this. This is the J2 Cub. It's what came before the J3. Not hard to guess, but this is just lovely. It was developed from the Taylor Cub, and it had a 37 horsepower Continental A40. Continental developed this engine to be like a modern power plant. It had a single magneto, and the J2 was they put it out for sale. They eventually gave it an upgrade to 40 horsepower. Plus, there was a subtype that you could buy, which was the J2S, which was float equipped, which with 40 horsepower must have been utterly terrifying. Optional extras on the J2 optional extra list, you could get an airspeed indicator, $3.50. Compass was $6. Carb heat, surprisingly, that was an optional extra. That was $4. Primer, $4.25. The big ticket item in the J2 options list was the side windows, because believe it or not, it came standard with just a windscreen and a door. And no side windows. So $36 got you side windows. So, but I would love. I've got a J3, and I think I've probably got a Super Cub in my fancy hangar, thanks to previous wins. And I just think a J2. They're quite good fun to fly. There was they had a celebration of Continental A40s and J2 Cubs. So at Oshkosh last year, and there were loads of them. I don't think the engine's that difficult to keep running now. So that easy to keep running now, because it's one of those rare types. So
okay, so
what does the audience say?
Do we need to look at the comments, or is this just a clear winner?
There was I would say that the Annabelle sums up the Sky Cycle comments with my eyes. And please stop showing the photo. Harsh. But there was an Ian Wins. I think that was a guess when they thought that you had some cunning way of saying that the Corsair was built by Piper, but not. So Catkin said of Johnny's, that's a good start. What else have we got? Ian may have overdosed on Night Nurse. What else? Dave wins. Come on, Dave. Dave takes the lead. What about the Piper Geronimo? That was the Apache, wasn't it? Super. That was kind of given bigger engines. So that would still fall in the vintage Piper remit. Some Dave wins. Dave wins. I think it's steady on Dave. You may have won this tonight. What else have we got? Dave won. I knew it. That was a great Clarkson impersonation, Dave. See? Chris Winch. Chris has gone the proper Clarkson, the PA48 Enforcer. That was when Piper said, we can make the Mustang better and put a turboprop on it. Paul Fraser-Benison says, how about Piper Stinson Station Wagon? Say that fast. Dave wins. Dave wins. Nigel agrees with me. Ed wins. Ed wins. Dave. I think it is a Dave wins night tonight.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Round of applause for Dave.
If I had to pick one of your four, Dave wins. Oh, Kier's going Piper Vagabond. Flies that all the time. Ed wins. Shocked if Ed hasn't already. I definitely haven't got a J2 in my Cub. Ed wins. Second elastic band as an extra. No more. 3 more horsepower. I think I'm going to call that as a Dave wins.
I think you're right.
I like ugly aeroplanes too. Oh,
thank you, Michael. I'll take that the right way.
Yes, usually Dave wins. In the end, Dave is there's a surge as well. There we go.
Yeah.
Dave,
well done, Dave.
You're in a roll. Well done.
As winner, you get to tell us about events.
We're gonna put the Ed Wins t-shirts on remainder.
Yes.
Right. So Friday to Sunday this weekend, Glen Falls are flying, of course. It's a big one. There's also a DD80 event at North Weald Saturday. Gyro record-breaking attempt at Leicester Airport. Trying to get more than 71, and it'll set a new world record. There's a Grumman owners flying at Carlisle. All types of aircraft are welcome. Slightly confusing was the following weekend on June the 8th. The airport itself is having a flying, but they are separate. There's 2 flyings, one this weekend, one next weekend. Saturday is also the LAA's open day at Western, and on Sunday there's a Jodel flying at Popham, which promises to be very nice.
Very good.
Very good. Well, on that basis, I think it just remains for me to say thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much, team. Thank you very much, Charlotte. And we will see you all at an airfield somewhere soon. Might see you at Apenny Green next week sometime or the week after if we find time to nip up there and test their sausages or something. So thank you.
Enjoy the weather and fly safe, everyone.
Fly safely. See you next week.
Bye.